Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now May 27th of 2023. I hope everyone's having a fantastic weekend so far. Now, everything with the Star Wars franchise, there's a lot of good and bad that's happening right now, and I will say the good has a lot to do with John, Dave, Tony Gilroy, Timothy Zahn, and of course a lot of others becoming a part of this quote-unquote dream team, if you will, that's going to turn Star Wars around. On the other end of the spectrum, we have Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, and John Watts leading Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And without wasting too much of your time, let's get right into the subject. Now, you guys may recall just last month at Star Wars Celebration we got 3 movie announcements. I know there's a common misconception. A lot of fans think that there's 3 Rey movies coming. That's actually not the case at all. There's 3 Star Wars movies on the way, one of which is going to feature Rey, the other of which will focus on a Mandoverse movie, essentially, by Dave Filoni that's going to be the gateway to becoming a trilogy. And the other one is Dawn of the Jedi. It takes place 25,000 years before the events of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, even before the Old Republic era. So what's interesting about the Rey film, there's been a lot of drama happening with this movie, unfortunately, and given that the reason why I say unfortunately is because one issue with one project creates a domino effect for another release. Now, the thing about Daisy Ridley is that she has been in a constant struggle right now with Disney and Lucasfilm regarding the Rey movie, not just because of the writer's strike and how that's setting things back a little bit, but something very specific. Let's get into it. So now that John and Dave are preparing to promote Ahsoka, the one big project is the new Jedi Order film, also known as the Rey movie, starring Daisy Ridley. However, recently some drama began to rise out of this project after Ridley began to challenge Lucasfilm and Disney. Now, Ridley is reportedly very unsatisfied with her payout over this movie and its plans. She has been challenging Disney and Lucasfilm to double her payout for the role and return of Rey, and this is said to be causing massive problems to the point where Disney and Lucasfilm are said to not be budging to accept this, and are now already prepared to drop Daisy altogether for the new Jedi Order movie if her requests continue to create production issues for the film. Now, with one of the leads that quit a couple of weeks ago from this film, and Disney in search of a new actor to take this place, Lucasfilm is said to be growing very impatient with Ridley over her demands. Now, let me just stop here quickly before I get to the next piece. Now, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Rey film is not necessarily a Rey-centered movie like we all think it is, or like how a lot of people think it is. Basically, Rey's going to be in the movie, kind of like how Obi-Wan was in the A New Hope film, or how Luke was in The Last Jedi. She's going to be treated like a supporting character, basically, is what's happening here. She's not the main character, but she's a part of the leads, so to speak. So what's interesting about this, though, is that she is asking and demanding for double the payout for her return as Rey. And the reasoning behind this has a lot to do with the fact that, well, Daisy isn't really getting any work in Hollywood or in the film industry, and it's really creating a lot of problems. You know, we know that ever since Star Wars came to a close, Ridley hasn't really gotten anything big or a major blockbuster. Some stuff here and there, you know, little things, odds and ends, but nothing really huge. Not even John Boyega these days is getting anything. If anything, guys, the 2 successful actors that I believe benefited from the sequel trilogy and were really already on their way before the sequels were Oscar Isaac and Adam Driver. And even to this day, they're still getting pretty decent roles after, of course, the sequels came to an end. So those are the 2 in my book. Now, what's interesting, though, is the fact why Daisy is requesting double the payout. Specifically, it's because also the fact that she knows that this character is a very well-established character, that it's a character that was the main character in the sequels. She feels that she deserves to be paid more than what she was in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, apparently Disney is paying her less than what she was paid in Episode 9, and I can see why Ridley would have some kind of a problem with that. But moving on to the next thing here is that this is putting Daisy in a very dangerous spot where she can be dropped at any minute now for the role. and with rewrites already planned for the end of this movie by Stephen Knight once the writer's strike lifts and comes to an end, it makes this an even more likely scenario. So be aware that there are rewrites on the horizon for the new Jedi Order film, because basically Stephen Knight is reworking David Lindelof's script. He too, by the way, quit this project before Stephen came on board. Now, Disney is described to already have a backup plan in case they want to drop Ridley, and that is said to be to release Dave Filoni's movie first in 2025 and rewrite the Rey film altogether. That would completely gut and reconstruct the script and actually remove Rey from the story and release that one by either 2026 or 27 to resolve and create a remedy for the issue. It's unknown why Disney is acting so stubborn on this issue and not even negotiating with Ridley, but it could very well have something to do with the fact that she is going to only be a supporting character and not a main character in this film. And that is true, by the way, guys. She's going to be a supporting character, not like a main character this time around. But I think the bigger question that we should all be asking is, well, even though she is going to be a supporting character, how much screen time is she really getting in this movie? That's another big important question that I think a lot of fans need to bring up. How much screen time is she going to get? Are her requests to get a payout that's going to be double valid, or are they invalid? You know, if she has very little screen time, I can see maybe why Disney would not want to invest in that, but I really am kind of siding with Ridley here, because Disney, if you think about it, they have all the money in the world. They have tons and tons of money to spend on crazy things like marketing. Why not bump up Ridley's pay a little bit if you want her to cooperate? So again, they are very well aware that if they remove Ridley, they're going to have to rewrite this whole thing, but they do have a backup plan, like I said before. If that comes to fruition, they do plan on Dave Filoni's movie coming out first. However, that too is going to create a domino effect. Then Filoni's going to be very busy with the movie and won't be able to invest in Ahsoka Season 2, nor will he be able to invest in Mando Season 4 as much. He would basically have to start, writing the script right away, this very given moment, if this really is going to happen in the coming weeks. So, again, I always hate to say this, but when one project goes sour, whether you like that project or not, it's going to create some kind of a domino effect in one way, shape, or form. There's always some kind of impact that actually happens. And when you look at what happened with, the Bad Batch Season 2 delay, that kind of did also affect the Mandalorian Season 3 delay. So overall, I think that Ridley does have a valid reason, because she's being paid less than what she was in The Rise of Skywalker, and she knows the value that she is. She knows that she apparently was the selling point for this movie because she was brought up on stage over at Celebration, right? And if you're going through that much trouble, to bring her up on stage and make it like she's the main thing or the main focus, you really should be paying her more than what she was paid in Episode 9. So look, I'm not saying that I support fully the return of Rey. I myself am not too enthusiastic about this by Stephen Knight. We'll have to wait and see. What I am enthusiastic about is how John and Dave are going to do it their own way in the post-Episode 9 series. So guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.